As we've said on The Source today, it is Mental Health Week across Canada. It's also Catholic Education Week. We've invited Grant Frost, the Chief Information Officer from the Niagara Catholic District School Board, to check in with us today. Welcome, Grant.
Good morning.
Grant, first off, let's talk about how teachers across the Niagara Catholic Board are dealing with distance learning, distance education, being thrown into it without a lot of warning 2 weeks after the March break.
The first few weeks were spent making sure that staff had adequate access to technology. Depending on where you live, if you're rural or more urban, you might have varying internet capabilities. So we wanted to help with that as well.
I think that also drew a lot of attention to some of the shortcomings that a lot of students do have at home with technology, because I think many people just assume these days everybody is connected.
The school board reached out to families. Each principal reached out to every family in their school and asked them, do you have internet? Do you have Wi-Fi? Do you have devices? And what we did was we loaned out all of our Chromebooks to the families that had internet. And for the families that didn't, we invested $50,000 in secure tablets that we rolled out to various folks across the region that did not have internet. These are internet-enabled devices. Through a gift from the Niagara Foundation for Catholic Education, they actually are paying for that internet for those families that need it. So we wanted to make sure that we had equity across the region so that everyone could be connected, access their teachers, and be able to do their work remotely.
There's a lot of concern, I believe, from both boards about students' mental health while they're trying to juggle this work under self-isolation. What has the Catholic Board been doing to support that aspect?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a parent of kids in our system as well, and I see what they're going through. Not only dealing with the, their own sort of anxieties and concerns about COVID-19 and what this means, both short and long term, but the impacts to their relationships with their friends and whatnot. And so I'm seeing it firsthand, but I know that we've got, a great variety of different students and personalities across the board that do need support. So our mental health workers have been reaching out to the students and to the families, making sure that they have the supports that they need and making sure that, if they need help, they can reach out at any time, and we're there to help them through this process.
Talk about this partnership that you've created with McMaster, University of Toronto, to create some personalized protective equipment, some PPE for frontline workers here in Niagara and elsewhere. How did that come about?
We had not only engagement at the political level between our Director of Education, John Crocco, and Dr. Andrea Feller at Niagara's Associate Medical Officer of Health. He reached out to find out if we could use our advanced 3D printers to produce PPE supplies for healthcare workers in Niagara hospitals, emergency services, and long-term healthcare facilities. But at the same time, we had staff that were really building up a groundswell, asking, what can we do? We realized that there is a significant gap in personal protective equipment, and we realized that, we can do something about it. We're making two components. We're making something called ear savers, which is an accessory that protects the ears from sores and blisters by bearing the tension of the bands attached to the respirators and masks. And we're also making the face shield frames. One of the most exciting things I found with the process is that we put a lot of energy and effort into the actual material science of it. And we're actually using a completely biodegradable PLA filament, which is the material that gets fed into the 3D printers. And it's actually based and derived from renewable sources like cornstarch and sugarcane. So everything that we're manufacturing, knowing that it's going to be single use or limited use, we know that it's going to be recyclable and it's going to be something very positive.
Thanks for joining us today, Grant. It's a great story, and good luck on that first big delivery.